You don't necessarily have to say where you're from, but if you could just introduce yourself, please. We will start here. From here's fine. I'm Ian from Joshua Denverman, from California. Wonderful. And I think that can make it work. Okay. All right. Again, welcome to the National Championship for the Academic Bowl competition. Congratulations to both teams for making it to the championship match. My name is Sarah, and I am your moderator. To my left, we have
Ryan, I'm from Orlando. Vivek from Georgia. I'm from New York.
And fun fact, Vivek was my former student, and now he's a grown-up. Okay. So again, thank you for being here, parents. Just a reminder in the audience, please make sure that your phones are on silent, that you're not disruptive in any way. From Argonaut's team, may I have the designated captain or the designated coach? Okay. From Joshua Chadbourne, may I have the coach? Thank you very much. All right. Because this is the championship game and the playoffs, if there is a concern or protest, it must be brought to our attention before the start of the next quarter. Right? The protest can be brought up from the players who are playing or from the designated coach. Right? If we start the next quarter, then I'm sorry, it'll be too late to bring it up. But if you do have a concern, just let us know and we'll talk. Okay? If there is a protest that we submit, we will pause the game, get a response, and then we'll move on. Okay, so we will not send it off to protest land. It will be adjudicated immediately. Okay, so we'll take care of it right away. Okay? All right. Again, congratulations for making it to championship match. We are ready to start. Scorekeepers ready to begin?
Yeah.
Joshua Chadwell ready? Are not ready? Again, congratulations. Deep breath. We will start with toss-up number 27 of the 54 registers at the bottom of this object survived fully, with the rest being affected by a diagonal break. This object was discovered during the rebuilding of a fort. The Rosetta Stone is correct to Argonaut. Toss-up number 2. The Pillow Book of Say Shonagon was written in this modern-day city, which was established as a capital by the Fujiwara clan during the Heian period. This city, total, that is correct. Joshua Chadbourne, 10 points. Toss-up 3. Catalan's identity generalizes an identity discovered by this man, which relates elements of the Fibonacci sequence to a power of -1. According to laws stated by this man, the rotational axis of the moon has a constant angle of inclination to the ecliptic plane. The discoverer of moons like Tethys, for the points, identified this Italian scientist. Incorrect, I'll continue. This Italian scientist who names a space probe that was first to orbit Saturn. C is correct for 10 points. Joshua Chadbourne. Toss-up 4. One group of this type is given the Sudley Trophy. Upper body movements is minimized among these groups by use of the glide step. Auxiliaries that add a visual element to the performance of these groups are known as color guards. Leaders of sections of these groups are known as drum majors. Incorrect, I'll continue. For 10 points, name these ensembles that often perform live music at college football games. Incorrect, what I was looking for is the marching band. Toss-up number 5. The downtown grid structure of this city is nicknamed Light's Vision after its designer, Colonel Light. Since 1871, this city has been home to a large sports arena known as its namesake Oval, and this city's Victoria Square, incorrect, I'll continue, is also known by the Koran name Tartanyanga. This city is separated from its suburbs by a namesake parklands along the River Torrens. For 10 points, identify this fifth largest city in Australia, the capital of South Australia. What I was looking for was Adelaide. No points, going to toss up number 6. Jets of particles are released when hadrons are hit by particles as a result of this force's color confinement property. The carrier particle for this force at ranges of around 3 femtometers is the meson, while the carrier at short ranges is the massless gauge boson called the gluon. And this force is around 10 to 38 times more powerful than gravity. Incorrect, I'll continue. For 10 points, name this force, which is responsible for constraining quarks to form hadrons like protons and neutrons. Strong force. A strong force is correct. The strong force is correct. 7. This author wrote a book about the Eloi, who are humans turned into livestock or warlocks in the Time Machine. This author wrote a novel which follows Griffith, a scientist devoted to optics who invents a way to change. Nope. Change his body's refractive index, making him the Invisible Man. For the points, name this British science fiction author of The War of the Worlds. Is correct. 10. Toss up 8. We'll do a score check. Playwright Václav Havel led this movement, which began after police brutally suppressed a student demonstration on International Students' Day. The Civic Forum and Public Against Violence emerged as key opposition groups during this event, and Alexander Dubček returned to prominence during this movement, which ended communist rule without bloodshed. For 10 points, name this 1989 revolution that started. What? Don't say anything. One second. You're fine. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. I'll continue. That peacefully overthrew the communist government of Czechoslovakia, named for its non-violent nature. Thanks for guessing. I was looking for Velvet Revolution. I needed it. Okay, 2 different things. Okay, we are going to do a score check.
After the first quarter, I have Argonaut with 10 and Joshua Tadford with 4.
What did you answer?
You said Velvet Divorce.
Yeah, could I protest? Okay. What would you like to protest? That it should have been prompted, that the answer is equivalent, or that the pass?
It's equivalent.
That is okay. All right, so you send that in and I will select it. All right, so we're just going to take a break. This is a great time to do a little stretch. Take a breath. Okay. 1989 revolution that peacefully overthrew something over here. So you can go ahead and just talk about a few reminders. We are going into the second quarter, which is toss-ups with bonuses for Argonauts. Welcome to talk to yourself. But I will take the answer directly towards me, so this we have assuming that that's the answer. Over here, who's my captain? Okay. If you give an answer, please make sure that you either say direct, you say the answer, or that I understand which answer you're going to make. Okay. Because that'll especially come into play for the wedding, right?
Okay, the protest was denied, so the score will remain as is and next quarter.
Thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate the group test. So we are moving on to the second quarter. Joshua, Trevor, ready? Are you ready? Good luck. Toss up one. In this novel, a woman named Justine Moritz is hanged for the murder of a boy in her care, crime which she didn't commit. This novel is framed as a series of letters from Robert Walton, captain in the Arctic, to whom the dying Whitman is correct. Bonus over here. Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, was the daughter of this English writer who wrote A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Mary Wollstonecraft is correct. 10 on bonus. Toss up two, all players, hands on buzzers. The beta form of this material is found only in the clade Sarcopsida, and the alpha form of this material is a food source for organisms that cause tinea pedis, or pig's foot. Classified as scleroprotein, this material, incorrect, I'll continue, has a protective function and is known for its strength, which allows this material to function in spider silk and armadillo plates. For 10 points, name this family of proteins important to the structure of rhinoceros horns, as well as human hair and nails. That is correct for 10. Bonus over here. Along with the eponychium, this semicircular layer of dead skin cells forms a protective seal at the base of the nail and is removed during a manicure. No, what I was looking for, parents? Cuticle. The cuticle. Correct. Toss up 3. The Truman Doctrine was formed based on disputes over a waterway this country controlled. This country was reformed under the ideology of Kemalism in the 1920s. As part of a resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis, John F. Kennedy agreed to remove nuclear weapons from Italy. Is correct. Bonus over here. The Cuban Missile Crisis weakened the political standing of this Soviet leader, known for his policy of de-Stalinization. Incorrect. I was looking for Nikita Khrushchev. Toss up 4. This artist is associated with an artistic style called Shikatya, which involves very shallow reliefs. This artist created St. George freeing the princess, which was once located on an edifice of the Orsanmikhale. This artist depicted Erasmo of Narni in the statue Gattameleta. That is correct. Bonus over here. The Gattameleta statue of Erasmo by Donatello portrays him taking part in this activity. Who should I think? I can accept yes. That is 10. Toss up 5. This mathematician invented a function to count the numbers relatively prime to a number n called the totient function. This mathematician's studies of graph theory led to the solution of the 7 bridges of Königsberg. Euler, that is correct. Euler is credited with founding this branch of mathematics, which studies networks of nodes and edges, inspired by the problem of the 7 bridges of Königsberg. Answer? Incorrect. I was looking for graph theory. Graph. So just 10 on the 6. A 1505 painting by Raphael is titled Young Man with One of These Objects. while another Raphael work sees the three graces holding these objects. A poem by Robert Frost about these objects features the line, "I feel the ladder sway as the boughs bend." A painting in the Art Institute of Chicago titled "A Basket of These Objects" is by Paul Cézanne. For 10 points, name this fruit. A green example of which is correct. Over here, 2-word answer required. Right? In many Renaissance paintings, an apple held by Eve symbolizes this biblical concept, which explains the origin of human evil. That's incorrect. I was looking for original sin. 7. All players hands on buzzers. In the US, this agricultural practice is the final step in the wastewater treatment process because it allows for the productive disposal of sewer water. The furrow system of this practice is used for row crops, including sugar beets, potatoes, and cottons, and a popular tool for this practice is the sprinkler. Again, watering the plants? No. For 10 points, identify the system of water movement for the cultivation of crops. Irrigation is what I needed. Over here, protest. All right. We're protesting that watering the plants is prompt. Okay. Pause, please. All right, my dear, I'm going to read the question and you tell me. So, beets, potatoes, and cotton says popular tool for the practice is the sprinkler. For 10 points, identify the system of water movement after sprinkling. So, while we wait for the protest to come back, if the protest is accepted, then you will get the bonus question. If the protest is denied, we'll send the bonus. In the meantime, Mr. Solchek, we get that.
Yeah, so I have let's see, 40 for Argonaut and 100 for Joshua Chat.
Does that include? It doesn't include number
It includes number 7.
to Joshua Chat. So it's gonna wait. You guys have to make an amazing job. We're proud of you. I hope you had fun this tournament and maybe you have more games to play.
So the protest was denied, so the score will remain as is, and bonus will go to Joshua Chat.
Okay, thank you. Okay, over here is the bonus. The 8. Okay, wait, it was denied and now it's back to yellow, so. To make sure that. Okay, it was. Okay. All right, so Joshua Chadbourne, your bonus. The 8. Oh, my computer just went. Okay. Sumerians developed one of the earliest large-scale irrigation systems in this region, named for its crescent shape, lying on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Mesopotamia. I'm looking for fertile. Right? Toss up 8, and with one more, we'll do another score check. 8. This man was named the first commandant of the combined NASA Air Force training project, the Aerospace Research Pilot School, in 1962. Earlier, while working for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, this man piloted the Bell X-1. That is correct. Bonus over here. Chuck Yeager's exploits as a test pilot are prominently featured in this 1979 book by Tom Wolfe, which was adapted into a 1983 film of the same name. Good guess. I was looking for the right stuff.
At the half, I have
I like the protests in Mesopotamia. I think protests in Mesopotamia are almost similar.
okay.
So let me see. Well, it's at the end. So I should have been prompted, or that is the same.
Equal.
Okay. Right, I'm sending it here, sending it there. Would you be when it is Argonauts' turn? You pull my phone to the other.
So it's 9, so score will remain as is. And the score check at the half, I have Argonaut with 50 and Joshua Chadburn with 100.
So, Joshua Chadburn, you get to pick of these choices first. British novelists, mountains, or Albert Einstein. British novelists, mountains, or Albert Einstein. Mountains, all right. For that, will or one of your own. The deck will start the timer after I say the, but you said mountains. All right. So ready? Concerning the mountains of the world, name the molten rock or magma that spews from volcanic mountains, including Etna and Kilauea. Yes. Highest mountain in the world, located in the China-Nepal border. Yes. Ancient range in which 9 of the world's 10 highest mountains are found. Yes. Highest mountain in Africa, located in Tanzania. Yes. National park on the Tennessee-North Carolina border, the most visited park in the U.S. Yes. Highest mountain in Ecuador, the peak of which is the furthest point on Earth's surface from its center. That is all 6. Well done. What's it? All right. You do. There's 20 extra bonus points for getting all 6, so you got 80 for the lightning round. There are no steals over here available, so you get to pick from British novelist or Albert Einstein. Okay, Albert Einstein. Right. All right. Your timer will begin after I so. Right. Concerning the theories and discoveries of Albert Einstein, name the electromagnetic radiation that he calculated was made of photons, which is perceivable with the human eye. No, extremely dense holes about which he theorized, the gravity of which is too strong for anything to see. Yes. Siblings from the same pregnancy in the title of a paradox, which involves one sibling aging at a different rate in space. Yes. Word found in the names of his general and special theories, which refers to differences in reference points. Yes. Device with an acronym name made possible after its introduction of stimulated emission of radiation. Okay. Quantum phenomenon he called spooky action at a distance, whereby particles are intrinsically related even when far apart. Incorrect. You got 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So over here, may I please have the electromagnetic radiation that he calculated was made of photons, which is perceivable with the human eye. Visible light. I can accept. Number 5. Device with an acronymic name made possible after his introduction of stimulated emission of radiation. And I was looking for laser, And the last one, number 6, is you can tell me the quantum phenomenon he calls action at a distance, whereby particles are intrinsically related even when far apart. What I was looking for was entanglement, but I can take in quantum entanglement. Okay, so that was 10 on 10.
All right. So after the third quarter, I have Argonaut with 80 and Joshua Chadburn with 190. They got 20 bonus points for sweeping Wilson's coin.
Okay, good question. All right. For this fourth quarter, those of you you're keeping score on your own, you also have it up here. I will let you know if it's 30, 20, or 10 points. Remember, after this round, we are all going to Orlando and for our awards. Okay? And again, well done. Congratulations on making it to the finals. You have done a wonderful job. Toss up number 1. This rebellion was spurred by a volcanic eruption in Sicily that turned the sky greenish blue and a solar eclipse sent by its instigator to be a black man's hand over the sun. This American rebellion's instigator was hung to death in a town called Jerusalem. That is correct. I have 20 points for that one. 2. This response's effect on photosystem, 2, can be measured by FBFM tests in plants. And although polyphenols measure this response, the xenohormesis hypothesis claims animals benefit from eating polyphenols. Hans Selye attempted to explain these responses with a model featuring 3 stages: alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. Incorrect, I'll continue. Which was a general adaptation syndrome, leading to the creation of adrenaline and activating fight or flight responses to 10 points. We're still playing. What are these biological responses to potentially threatening events? No, what I was looking for stress. Stress or general adaptation syndrome, but I don't say the stress response. Toss up 3. The earliest eyewitness account of this event was thought to have been published by Claire Hollingworth. One attempt to justify this action was by citing a false flag operation on a radio station the night before it occurred. This event inspired a poem in which a man claimed that clever hopes expire of a low, dishonest decade. That poem was written by... Nope, I'll continue. That poem was written by W.H. Auden and is titled for the day on which it occurred. 10 points name this military action that occurred on September 1st. That is for 10. 4. 4. This man authored the work Dialogues de Oratibus on rhetoric and published a biographical account of his father-in-law, Gnaeus Julius Agricola. This man wrote the ethnographic work Germanica and carried on correspondence with Pliny the Younger. One of this man's works provides one of the first non-Christian accounts of the crucifixion of Jesus. The author of the Histories and the Annals is, for 10 points, what Roman historian acted. Incorrect. I continue. Roman historian active during the 1st and 2nd centuries. Is correct for 10. 5. A large igneous province can be created by a swarm of these structures, which form within rift zones. Feeder examples of these structures allow magma to travel from magma chambers to intrusions. Sheet intrusions are classified as sills when they form between layers of layered rock, while if they form by cutting into unlayered rock, they are classified as these structures. For 10 points, name these rock structures, which is formed in a fracture of an existing rock body. False? No. I'm looking for dice. Seconds. Can we slack someone to stand outside and not let anyone in? all players ready? This man's namesake skyscraper at 8 Spruce Street was formerly the tallest residential building in the Americas. This man created the Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial, incorporating a mesh tapestry to depict the Normandy landings. This man was credited with helping revive downtown Los Angeles with his design of a performing arts venue. Incorrect, I'll continue. To revive downtown Los Angeles with his design of a performing arts venue noted for its complex acoustic design. For 10 points, name this American architect known for designing the Walt Disney Concert Hall and the Guggenheim Museum. Incorrect, I was looking for Frank Gehry. 7. A conflict that occurred in this city arose after Monsieur Remontel reported a looting at his pastry shop. Tres Zapatas in this city was among the center. I'll continue. The center to the Olmec culture. In the aftermath of an incident in Tampico involving the detention of American sailors, the 7-month occupation of this city was undertaken. In 1847, Winfield Scott oversaw a 20-day siege of this city for 10 points. Name this major historical port of Mexico. I was looking for Veracruz. And our last toss-up. 8. Lesser known varieties of this plant include the blue java. The tayo no tamango, or egg of the sun, is the most expensive variety of this plant and can cost up to $5 per fruit in Japan. The Big Mike, or Gros Michel, variety of this plant was largely eradicated by Panama disease in the 1950s, forcing farmers of this crop to turn instead to the Cavendish variety. For 10 points, name this potassium-rich fruit. Banana is correct for 10 points.